Good morning, friends. I'm Laura and welcome to my garden. Today I'm going to be doing some exciting tasks, going over to my friend's house and helping her plant up some gorgeous flowers. She wants to get all of the containers on both her front porch and her back porch totally decked out with the spring summer flowers because it is the season and it's time to replace all the annuals that might have been in any containers. And I also have some things from my garden that I want to dig out and give to her to put in her landscape. So I'm going to show you what my raised bed garden looks like, show you the plants that I'm going to be gifting or getting rid of, and dig them up and head on over to her house. I've got a box lined with plastic right here. I'm going to use that to contain all the root balls for everything that I dig up to take over to her house. So here are the raised garden beds. It's so hard to tell with this light, but essentially we've got 4 raised garden beds. And I've got lots of gorgeous flowers in here that just aren't going to be suiting me as I move forward. So this is my raspberry bush. You can tell it's really leafing out. I'm so excited. If you have been subscribed to my channel, you will probably have seen this already. But if not, subscribe to my channel. I share with you all of the garden progress. So a few weeks ago, I went through and I trellised all of my pre-existing raspberry canes, and I weaved them into the fence here and tied them off so that they would have support. And since I did that, this thing has totally leafed out. It's covered in foliage. And in that video, I shared with you one of my goals for this year is for this entire bed to become a raspberry bush. So right now it's just this little plant, and it had maybe 7 or 10 leaders coming up from it that I, trellised and staked up and everything. And I don't know if you could tell from down here, this whole thing is so full, but essentially we have lots of new growth coming up from the bottom there. Can you see all the little skinny ones? Anything that looks like that is new. The brown wood is the old wood. So there's lots of new growth back there. And then if we look over here, none of this was here before. It is very, very exciting. The raspberry bush has sent up a bunch of new growth. So here's 1 leader. And when I say leader, it's Leader. And it's like what will become a main cane of the raspberry, or a cane that survives year to year. So we've got 1 right here. We've got a huge one right here. And I'm trying to be careful as I touch these because they do have thorns on them. And then there's 1 here, another one there. So we're at 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 brand new leaders coming up that will be next year's leaders, but this year it's all new growth. It is so very, very exciting. And I wanted this whole 2x4 bed to become raspberry bush. And it looks like that's starting to happen. I'm going to need to come in here and stake all this at some point. But I'm not worried about that today. What I am worried about is what I'm gifting to my friend. And I've got some plants in here. What I do have back here is a dianthus. And you can see it's all budding up right now. Those are going to be 2 different flowers. And then let me try to find some more buds here. It's hard because my early spring blooming plants that are kind of finished now, daffodils and tulips, are really encroaching on the dianthus here. So here we go. I love this dianthus, and it's actually a very large size. It's just being eaten between the raspberry bush and all those early spring blooming flowers that are coming way over their side of the garden bed. I love this. This one I think is called Georgia Peach, and it is a very light pinky peach color. It is stunning, and it's getting ready to bloom with its first growth of the year. And that needs to come out. If we move along the raised garden beds here, we've got another dianthus. This one is huge. It has grown so much this spring, and you can see it is just covered in blooms and become these gorgeous flowers back here. I don't know if you can see that very well. The sunshine is so intense right now. So this is a light pink and dark pink, kind of like a painted effect or a marbled effect. It's really pretty. But this one I'm definitely going to take out and take over to her to put in her landscape. I think that will be really great for her. And then if I keep moving along the raised garden beds, we have another dianthus right here, which you can see the buds on this. I think this is one of the latest we've ever had the dianthus blooming. Usually I feel like they would have their full flush of blooms by now. But it's been a little cold this year. It's been quite a cold spring for us. Right here we have another one of those. It's called Pinball Wizard. It's the same one as this other one right here I showed you. So that's another one gonna go to her house. If we keep moving along here, we have got some chrysanthemums that I think I'm gonna dig up and take over to her house too. If you were subscribed to my channel last autumn, you will have seen that I dug up all of these huge chrysanthemums out of my raised garden beds that I planted in the beginning of spring last year. Last autumn, I digged them up, took them over to her house, and we planted them in her landscape. I take that back. We didn't plant them in her landscape. Her and her husband planted them in their landscape. And unfortunately, they did not survive. It might have been too late in the year, or they might not have been watered in really well. I'm not quite sure, but I thought it would be really great since just enough of the roots survived in my raised beds to flush up with all new growth this year when I intended not to have them at all. It'd be great to go ahead and take these over to her house and give them another shot over there. So we've got like 1, 2, 3 chrysanthemum plants there. We've got another one right here, another one under this hydrangea bush. And I think that's it. So I think we have, oh, and then right here, we have another dianthus that I think I'm going to gift to her. I don't know if this one has a tag. Yeah, I'm not sure what color this is, which is sad. I would love to keep my Georgia peach one. I know I have one Georgia peach one back here, or maybe 2, I'm not sure. I would love to keep that. I have them all over my front garden, but I don't know which ones are which. So I'm gonna go ahead and just dig all of them up and gift them to her. Okay, so this is everything I'm taking over to my friend. We have all 4 of the dianthus in there, and they're huge. If you could see the size of this big Tupperware here. And then I've got the original box that I was planning to store them in. This is holding all of the chrysanthemums that I pulled up, and they only have a little bit of root. So hopefully that'll be okay to get transplanted pretty quickly over at her place. We'll see. I mean, the worst that happens is they don't live, which is what happened last time. But those were big established plants I gave last time. Maybe these ones being in spring in the beginning of the season, will have a lot more time to get established before it's freezing and such. I'm also going to bring some root starter over to her house to go in the holes we're digging to plant these. Hopefully to help all of the roots get established in their new home. Gotta get all of this loaded up into my car. It's quite a little load there of flowers. So half of a Taylor Swift CD later, I have made it to my friend's house. She lives quite a little trek away from me. And I am here in the garden bed where they planted up all of this stuff from last year. Now, I will say this isn't actually a garden bed. It is a raw piece of land that they are turning into a garden bed. So you can see all this mulched area, that's where they planted stuff. And I'm pretty sure all this stuff that is coming up is just weeds. I feel pretty positive about that. But this whole area was planted, I think, with the chrysanthemums. I'll have to check with her. And then this is a butterfly bush that they already had pre-existing. So I think what I'm going to do is get to work with a rake and pulling this mulch out, and then grab a shovel and start digging out the weeds and digging out spaces for those plants to go. Small pivot. I'm going to wait for her to get home before I just go digging up that garden bed to make sure that she has design preference. But her husband said if I'm feeling proactive, I can go ahead and get started on the herb garden. She picked up these herbs a few weeks ago when we planted her vegetable garden, and she's got the cutest little ladder system that she puts the herbs on. This year she has a lot more herbs than will fit on this ladder, but I figure I can get started with this ladder on some of the things that already have labels. Like she has a label for the mint, and I'll show you here. So the dill label broke, but that's okay because I don't think she has dill in this lot right here. But how cute are these tags? Aren't they so sweet? So I figure what I can do is go ahead and give the outside of these a good cleaning because they're looking pretty rough, and they'll look a lot cuter and sweeter if they're crispy white on the outside. And then I'll go ahead and get started potting these up into the containers. And then once I get all the herbs in their dedicated spots, I think there will still be a few left over. She has this gorgeous unit right here, and so I'm thinking maybe some pots could hold some of the extras up there. We'll see. Hey, Dax. Hey, sweet girl. Hi. Hi. She's a good dog. Yeah. Pretty.
Holding on to win this fight, to win this fight. I'm still young, I got so much to learn.